guys, you're very welcome to this level 2/level 3 flow class. So I hope you're all doing really well. This evening's class is going to be working, as it usually is, with our core strength and our balance. So I'm going to be focusing in particular on our shoulder strength this evening. So just coming to a kneeling position, if that feels comfortable for you. You can either place a blanket underneath the knees or at the back of the thighs. If that feels too uncomfortable, then just come into your Shavasana, your easy pose, just crossing the legs. We'll bring the backs of the hands to rest on the thighs, palms face up, and just gently closing the eyes down. Giving ourselves these first few moments of stillness. Allowing ourselves to connect with our physical body, our mental body, our energetic body, and our emotional body. Just taking this time just to absorb where you're at right now. Allowing yourself to drop a little deeper into the stillness. Just beginning to connect with your breath. Bringing an awareness to your breath. And allowing yourself to feel your breath in your body. Noticing how your breath feels right now. Taking this time just to set a sankalpa for your practice, an intention for your practice. Maybe it's something about how you want to feel in your practice or after your practice. And we set our intention as sankalpa with a simple sentence in the present tense. So you can say, I am strong. I am happy, I am at peace, whichever feels right for you. You might have a different sankalpa, everyone's sankalpa will be different. And this is an intention that you can work with throughout your practice this evening. And then I'm going to invite you to take 3 full inhales in through the nose, sighing out through the mouth. Nice deep inhale. Letting everything go on the exhale. 2 more inhales. And releasing. One last inhale. Letting everything go. Feeling free to work with the breath in any way that feels good in this evening's practice. If it feels too good to exhale out through the mouth in those stronger postures, then allowing yourself to do that. Working with your breath, not against your breath in your practice. Just gently beginning to blink the eyes open now. We're going to stay kneeling if that still feels comfortable. And just working with some shoulder stretches here. Just before we bring a little bit more work into the shoulders, we're going to inhale, fingertips to sky. We're going to exhale to bend that right elbow, placing that right palm on the upper back. And then taking hold, if we can, of the opposite hand. If that's not available to us, we can use a yoga strap or take hold of your top here. Drawing that right elbow to sky, left elbow down to the earth. Just taking this time in the warm-ups just to check in with the shoulders, noticing how they're feeling, if they're feeling particularly tight or sore. Then just being mindful as we move through the practice. Taking that breath down to the belly. Lovely. As you exhale, you're going to bring fingertips all the way back to sky. Bring the palms of the hands together down to heart center And then we're going to sweep out to the sides again, bringing the palms of the hands together, down to heart center. One last time, nice big sweep up. And then we're going to hold at the top this time. We're going to bend that left elbow, placing that left palm onto the upper back, bending the right elbow, and seeing if you can take hold of the opposite hand here. So one side might always feel a little tighter than the other. My right shoulder's always a little tighter from an injury I had when I was younger. So just being mindful with your own body, just honouring where it's at, not forcing anything here. Just taking that breath into the belly. Lovely. As you inhale now, you're going to release the hands. Bring fingertips all the way to sky, palms together. Exhaling, prayer hands down to heart. We'll do that 2 more times. Nice big sweep up. Exhaling down to heart center. One last sweep up. And then exhaling down to heart center. We're going to bring the hands behind the back now, interlace the fingers, and just push down through the hands. So you're drawing those shoulder blades towards each other, finding that space in the chest here, taking a nice deep inhale. And as you exhale, beginning to hinge at the hips, keeping the hips pressing back over the heels, and bringing the forehead down to the earth. So getting that nice stretch in the shoulders now. Taking some nice deep breaths here. And the next inhale, slowly coming all the way back to center. And then releasing the hands. So we're going to come into rabbit pose now. We don't do rabbit pose enough in our yoga classes. It's a nice shoulder stretch. So just come into tuck the toes under now. So you're on the knees. You're going to bring the hands onto the heels. You might find it easier to bring the forehead down first. So see what feels best for you. We're bringing the forehead onto the floor, and you're taking the hands and bringing them round the backs of the heels. And I want you to see if you can begin to bring the top of the head onto the floor and really pushing the heels into the palms of the hands. You should feel a nice shoulder stretch here. Nice stretch for the upper back. If you've got any tight shoulders, you'll really feel it here. Just staying here for 2 breaths in our rabbit pose. Sarvangasana. Sarvangasana. See if you can breathe a little deeper into the back body here. Lovely. To come out of the pose, we're going to release the hands, bring them onto the floor, and then just push yourself all the way back up, releasing the toes back down. We're going to make our way into our tabletop now, bringing those knees underneath the shoulders. Coming into some gentle cat-cows, just to warm the spine up. We're going to inhale, chin to sky, belly to earth. As you exhale, drawing chin to chest, navel to spine, bringing that gaze back between the knees. Just taking a couple like this. Just moving with your own breath here. Remembering it's your practice, so you're using your breath in a way that feels good for you. Most of our practice, we try to breathe in and out through the nose. But any time if it feels good to sigh out through the mouth, I'm feeling free to do that. Lovely. We'll come back into our tabletop now. We're going to come into our melting heart pose, a nice way to release any tight shoulders. We're keeping the hips stacked over the knees, walking the hands as far forward as you can without moving those hips. And then you're going to release the chin and the forehead, the chin or the forehead down to the earth. If it's too strong on the forehead, on the chin, you're going to come onto the forehead. Lovely. Option to come a little deeper here by lifting the lower legs, bringing the big toes together. We'll stay here for 3 breaths. And when you're ready, releasing the feet down, pushing into the forearms, coming all the way back up into your tabletop here. We're going to tuck the toes under, coming into our tabletop plank. So really engaging the core, drawing the navel into the spine, making sure you're really spreading out through the hands here. Nice L shape with the index finger and thumb. Toes are tucked under. I'm just going to hover the knees about an inch off the floor. This is our tabletop plank, a really nice way to fire the heat up in the core here. Taking one more breath here. And as you exhale, you're going to push the hips back and up towards the sky, coming into your first downward facing dog. So just pedaling out through the feet, taking any movements or stretches that feel good in your down dog. Just allowing yourself to get a little deeper into the body here. Lovely. And then when you're ready, beginning to find some stillness now. Drawing those heels down towards the earth. We'll take a nice deep inhale through the nose, sigh out through the mouth. Lovely. We're going to come forward into our high plank now, bringing the shoulders over the wrists. So really important when we're working with our core and when we're working with our shoulder strength, that we have the shoulders over the wrists. So we're really supporting those shoulders. We really want to stabilize those shoulder joints. So rather than dumping into the shoulders, see if you can push into the hands and really lift those shoulder blades up towards the sky. Lovely. As you exhale, you're going to push all the way back into your downward facing dog. The next inhale, we're going to come forward again into our high plank. And this time we're going to come over to the left with the feet. So just sliding onto the outside edges. Also, I should say the outside edges of the feet. So inside edge of the right foot, outside edge of the left foot. Bring your right fingertips to the sky. So we're not really moving the feet too much. Coming back into your high plank. And all you're doing is just dropping the feet over to the right. So we're on the edges of the feet here. Left fingertips to sky. Really stabilizing that right shoulder joint over the wrist. Bringing that left hand down to the floor. Pushing all the way back into your downward facing dog. Taking a breath here. Lovely. Next inhale, we're going to come forward into our high plank. This time we're going to release the knees down into our half plank. Bend the elbows, lowering chin and chest down to the floor. And just coming up into your baby cobra. So pressing those hip bones down into the earth. Tops of the feet are pressing into the floor. From here, we're going to come up into our Sphinx Pose. So just drawing those forearms forward, making sure again that you have the elbows underneath the shoulders. So really supporting the shoulders here. Drawing those shoulder blades down the back, finding that nice space in the chest. And you're really grounding those hip bones down into the earth. And from here, we're going to tuck the toes under. We're going to come into our forearm plank. So we're going to come up onto the knees to start with, coming into our half plank. Option to stay here, or you can lift the knees, coming into your full forearm plank. So keeping those hips in line with the body. From here, we're going to come into our Dolphin Pose. So beginning to lift the hips up, you're bringing that gaze back towards the feet, and then just beginning to walk the feet in as much as you can. So this is one of those poses that's really strong for the core, and it's really good for building our shoulder strength. I'm going to stay here for 2 breaths. So really pushing into those elbows, steadying the breath here. Lovely. When you're ready, releasing the knees down, coming back into your child's pose. So you're releasing those hips back over the heels, keeping the hands on the floor, and just coming up onto the fingertips here. So you're creating that nice space in the shoulders. We'll take 2 breaths here. Lovely. As we inhale now, we're going to come up onto the knees, sweep fingertips all the way to sky, bringing the palms of the hands together, down to heart center. We'll do that one more time. Inhaling to sweep all the way to sky, and then we're going to bring the palms of the hands down onto the floor, pushing all the way up into your downward facing dog. Taking a couple of breaths here. Lovely. Next inhale now, we're going to come forward back into our high plank. This time we're coming on the outside edge of that right foot, and we're going to step that left foot halfway up the mat. So we're coming into our modified side plank, using that left foot, pressing into the sole, lifting that right hip away from the earth. Again, we're stabilizing that right shoulder joint over the wrist. Taking a breath here. As you exhale, bringing that left hand down to the floor, pushing all the way back into your downward facing dog. Taking a breath here. And then we're going to begin to gently walk the hands back towards the feet, coming into our first forward fold, a nice generous bend in the knees. Keeping that gaze back between the legs. And as you inhale, coming up into your half lift. Finding that length in the spine. Exhaling, forward fold. We're going to inhale to bring fingertips all the way to sky. Palms of the hands together. Exhale down to heart center. Taking 2 breaths here. Lovely. We're going to release the arms now and bring the hands behind the back. Interlace the fingers. Make sure the feet are a little wider than hip distance apart. Bringing a generous bend into the knees. Taking an inhale. And as you exhale, hinging at the hips. Bringing the forehead, the gaze to look back between the knees. Just allowing the hands to float up towards the sky. Get a nice shoulder release pose. So we'll work a little bit with releasing the shoulders in between those strong shoulder strengthening poses. Just enjoying this release now. As you inhale, beginning to press into the soles of the feet. Coming all the way back to center. Chin is the last thing to come up. We're going to inhale, fingertips to sky. Exhale, hands down to the earth, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Hands onto the shins or fingertips onto the earth. Exhaling, forward fold. We're going to walk the hands back out. Coming into your downward facing dog. Taking a breath here. Lovely. Next inhale, we're coming forward into our high plank, getting ready for our modified side plank. So coming onto the outside edge of that left foot this time, stepping that right foot halfway up the mat. You're pushing into that right sole of the foot as you lift that left hip away from the earth. That right leg is really helping with your support here. Lovely. As you exhale, bringing that right hand down, stepping back into your downward facing dog. Taking a breath here. Next inhale, you're lifting that right foot to sky. 3-legged dog. You're going to bend that right knee and step that right foot through. We're going to come up into our warrior one. No, our high lunge. Our high lunge. Bringing fingertips to sky. So you're keeping that left heel lifted. Finding your drishti, helping with your balance here. Taking that breath into the belly. Lovely. As you exhale now, you're going to bring the hands down towards the earth. And as you sweep them back, you're straightening that right leg. Still have that left heel lifted. Do that 2 more times. As you inhale forward, you're bending that right knee. Fingertips to sky. So really playing with our balance here. As you exhale, you're straightening that right leg. Drawing the hands all the way back. One last time. Fingertips to sky. Nice deep bend in that right knee. And as you exhale, straighten that right leg. I'm going to bring the hands behind the back, interlace the fingers, and you're going to drop that back foot down. So the back foot's slightly turned out. Getting ready for our pyramid pose. Bring your gaze up to the sky. Little mini back bend here. And as you exhale, you're hinging at the hips. Bringing that forehead down towards the right knee. Allowing the hands to float up towards the sky. So our pyramid pose is one of those poses that challenges our balance as well. So if you can draw the feet in towards each other. As you inhale, you're going to slowly come all the way back up. As as you come up, I find it easier if you can feel like you're pushing the feet away from each other. So when I come down, I feel like I'm drawing the feet towards each other. And when I come up, I'm pushing the feet away from each other. So try and play with that movement as we move through that sequence in the class. Okay. So we're going to keep the hands interlaced behind the back, and we're going to bring a nice generous bend into that right knee now. So we have that left foot, that back foot slightly turned out. Bring your gaze to the sky. We're coming into our humble warrior now. As you exhale, drawing that right shoulder down towards that right knee, allowing the hands to float up towards the sky, and bringing that gaze back to that left foot. So again, a nice shoulder release here. We're just making those legs work a little bit harder. Lovely. As you inhale, going to come all the way back to center, pushing those feet away from each other. We're going to release the hands, inhale, fingertips to sky, into your warrior one now. As you exhale, we're going to open out into our warrior two. Nice deep bend in that right knee. Going to bring that right palm to sky now into your reverse warrior, keeping that nice deep bend in the right knee. And as you exhale, you're going to reach forward, bringing that right hand down on the inside of that right foot if you can, bringing that left arm in line with the left ear. Extended side angle pose. If you have a block and it feels a little easier to place the hand on the block, feeling free to do that. Taking 2 deep belly breaths here. Lovely. As you inhale, you're going to come all the way back up into your warrior two. We're going to windmill the hands down to the floor, stepping all the way back into your downward facing dog. Taking 2 breaths here. Noticing how that right leg might feel a little different to the left now. Now I'm going to come to our Vinyasa, but we're going to take it nice and slow because our Vinyasa has a different variation this evening. As we inhale, we're going to bring shoulders forward into our high plank, engaging the core. And then we're going to release the knees down into our half plank. Bend the elbows, and you're releasing yourself down into your baby cobra again. Just lifting the upper chest. Taking a breath here. Lovely. From here, you're sliding the forearms forward. So we're back into our Sphinx Pose now. Pressing into the forearms, into the elbows. Sliding those shoulder blades towards each other as you ground those hip bones down into the earth. Taking a breath here. Lovely. From here, we're tucking the toes under, coming up into our forearm plank. Feeling free to come onto the knees first. Stay on the knees if you need to. Or coming into the full version of your forearm plank. Pushing into those elbows, engaging that core. And then when you're ready, bringing the gaze back towards the ankles, lifting the hips towards the ceiling, and just walking those feet forward. Coming into our Dolphin Pose. We'll take 2 breaths here. Making sure you're relaxing the neck and the head when you're in Dolphin Pose. So you can even give the head a little nod, a little shake. And the head should be far away from the floor, so it shouldn't be touching the floor. Lovely. As you exhale, you're going to release the knees down. You're bringing the hips back over the heels. So you're coming into your child's pose. But you've got that nice stretch in the spine. So just coming up onto the fingertips here. Find that space in the shoulders. And we'll take 2 nice deep breaths into the back body here. Lovely. As you inhale, you're lifting the gaze, sweeping fingertips to the sky, coming onto the knees, palms of the hands together, exhale down to heart center. That one more time. Nice inhale to sweep up. And as you exhale, you're bringing the hands down onto the floor and then coming up into your downward facing dog. So
Our Vinyasa this evening is going to be working with that sequence. Baby Cobra, Sphinx, Forearm Plank, Dolphin, up onto the knees after our Child's Pose and back into our Down Dog. So we'll be doing it a couple of times in the class. So just taking a couple of breaths here, either in your Dolphin Pose or your Child's Pose. Taking this time just to reconnect with the breath. And we'll do that sequence on the other side. Lovely. So when you're ready, just meeting back in our downward facing dog now. We're going to come into another version of our side plank. So as you inhale, coming forward over the wrists with the shoulders into your high plank. You're coming onto the outside edge of that left foot now, and you're bringing that right foot behind. So you're bending that right knee, toes on the right foot are pointing towards the back of the mat. And again, it's like a modified side plank. That right foot's helping us to press our weight into the sole of the foot, lifting that left hip away from the earth. Lovely. And when you're ready, you're going to come back to your center, bringing that right hand down, stepping all the way back into your downward facing dog. Taking a breath here. And we'll do that that side plank on the other side. So as you inhale, shoulders forward over wrists, high plank. Coming onto the outside edge of that right foot now, stepping that left foot behind the right. That left foot's parallel to the mat. Pressing into that left foot. So we're doing various variations of our side plank this evening. Noticing which one feels like your favourite. And as you exhale, bringing that left hand down to the floor, back into your down dog. Taking a breath here. Lovely. Next inhale, we're lifting that left foot to sky. Bending that left knee, stepping that left foot through. Coming into our high lunge. Bringing fingertips to sky, keeping that right heel lifted. Finding your drishti here, helping you with your balance. Taking that breath into the belly. Lovely. As you exhale, you're going to draw that left hip back as you straighten that left leg, bringing the arms behind. So you're keeping that right heel lifted. Find that space in the chest. As you inhale, bending that left knee, fingertips to sky. Lovely. As we exhale, straightening that left leg, bringing the arms back. Inhaling back into your lunge with the bent knee. As you exhale one last time, this time we're going to bring the arms behind, interlace the fingers, and you're dropping that back foot down. So that back foot slightly turned out at an angle here. Coming into our pyramid pose. If you need to come a little closer with your stance, feeling free to do that. Giving your gaze to the ceiling, little back bend. As you exhale, you're hinging at the hips, bringing that forehead towards the left knee. So please feel free to bring a little micro bend to the back of that left knee. I want to help protect the knee here. Just allow the hands to float up as much as they can. Lovely. As you inhale, lifting the gaze. I push the feet away from each other to really engage the legs, help with the balance here. Lovely. Keeping the fingers interlaced. You're bending that left knee now. We're coming into our humble warrior. Bringing the gaze to the ceiling. And as you exhale, hinging all the way down into your humble warrior. Bringing that gaze back towards that right foot. Left elbow towards that left knee. Nice and strong in the legs. Lovely. As you inhale, coming all the way back up to center, pushing the feet apart, bringing fingertips to sky, Virabhadrasana 1. Really making those legs work now. As we exhale, we're going to open out into our warrior 2. Arms in line with the shoulders, palms face down. Bringing that left palm to sky into our reverse warrior. Keeping that nice deep bend in the left knee. And as you exhale, you're hinging forward, bringing that left hand on the inside of that left foot, bringing that right arm in line with the right ear. So I'm using that left arm to push into the leg, really helping me with my balance here. Taking 2 breaths here. Lovely. As you inhale, coming all the way back to your warrior 2. We're going to windmill the hands down to the floor. Step all the way back into your downward facing dog. Taking 2 breaths here. Lovely. We'll come through our slow vinyasa now with our variation. So on the inhale, you're drawing the shoulders forward over the wrists, high plank. We're going to release the knees down, bend the elbows, just bringing the chin and chest down, and we're just lifting up into our baby cobra again, just lifting the upper chest here. We're going to slide those forearms forward, coming into our Sphinx Pose. So really grounding through the hip bones, making sure you're pressing into the elbows, sliding those shoulder blades down the back, taking a breath here. Lovely. From here, you know what's coming now. We're going to tuck the toes under, come up onto the knees, forearm plank, and then lift the knees, pushing out through the heels, bringing the gaze back towards the ankles, drawing that navel into the spine, and when you're ready, drawing the hips up to the sky, walking the feet in towards each other, coming into your Dolphin Pose. We're going to stay here for 2 breaths. So just noticing how the shoulders are now. Are you finding it easier or more challenging as the class goes on? Hopefully beginning to build some strength now in those shoulders. Lovely. When you're ready, you're releasing the knees down. You're drawing the hips back over the heels, keeping the hands on the floor. You're in your child's pose now. Option to come up onto those fingertips. We'll take 3 breaths here. Next inhale, we're lifting the gaze. We're going to bring fingertips to sky, coming onto the knees, palms of the hands together. Exhale, prayer hands down to heart center. Doing that one more time. Inhaling to sweep up. And this time as you exhale, bringing the hands down onto the floor. And we're pushing all the way up into our downward facing dog. Just taking a couple of breaths here now. Taking any movements or stretches that feel good for your body. And then we'll come into a sequence for our side planks now. So we're going to put that sequence that we did before together. Okay. And we're going to add a little bit to it as well. Okay, so coming to meet back in your downward facing dog. As you inhale, you're coming forward into your high plank, shoulders over wrists. You're coming onto the outside edge of that right foot, and we're stepping that left foot behind again. So toes are pointing towards the back of the mat. Left fingertips to sky. Now we have the option now to lift that left knee. You can place the foot on the leg for the moment. Some of you might want to lift that foot off the leg. Keeping that right shoulder nice and strong. And then we're going to step that left foot halfway up the mat. So coming into our modified side plank here. Lovely. As you exhale, bringing that left hand down to the floor. Stepping back into your downward facing dog. We're going to come through our vinyasa again. So drawing shoulders over wrists. High plank. Releasing the knees down. Bending the elbows, releasing down into your baby cobra. And then bringing the forearms forward into your Sphinx Pose. Taking a moment now just to ground down through the hip bones. Feel that sense of opening in the chest. Lovely. From here, we're tucking the toes under, coming onto the knees, and then pushing up into our forearm plank. Keeping that gaze back towards the ankles. When you're ready, you're lifting the hips up to the sky, walking the feet forward into your dolphin pose. Now the option here is to try your one-legged dolphin pose. So you can begin to press into that left foot as you lift that right foot to sky. So it's like a three-legged dog, but we're on the forearms instead of the hands here. When you're ready, releasing that right foot down. And as you inhale, bringing that left foot to sky. Lovely. As you exhale, releasing that left foot back down. We're going to release the knees down. Draw the hips back into your child's pose. Taking 3 deep breaths here. When you're ready, we're going to inhale to lift the forehead. Coming up onto the knees as you sweep fingertips to the sky. Palms of the hands together. Exhale down to heart center. Doing that one more time. Inhaling fingertips to sky. Exhaling the hands down to the floor. Push it all the way up into your downward facing dog. Taking a couple of breaths here now. And then we'll do that sequence, that side plank sequence on the other side. And then we'll come into some more restful postures. So almost there, guys, you're doing really well. Lovely. So we're in our down dog now. We're going to inhale forward into our high plank. Coming onto the outside edge of that left foot, you're bringing that right foot behind, right fingertips to sky. Modified side plank. Option to make it a little bit more challenging by bringing the sole of that right foot onto the leg, or we can lift that right knee. I actually find it easier to lift it. As you exhale, you're stepping that right foot forward, placing that right foot on the floor, coming into another version of our modified side plank. Lovely. As we exhale, we're bringing that right hand down to the floor, stepping back into your downward facing dog. And we'll come in through our final vinyasa now. Inhaling forward into your high plank, releasing the knees down, bending the elbows, coming down into your baby cobra. We're going to bring the forearms forward, coming into our Sphinx Pose. Just allowing those hip bones to melt into the earth. Please know we're coming into our last forearm plank and our last dolphin pose. We're going to tuck the toes under, come up onto the knees. Release the knees from the floor, coming into your forearm plank. And then lifting the hips, walking the feet forward. Taking a couple of breaths here. The shoulder strengthening in dolphin pose is really good foundation for your headstand practice. Lovely. When you're ready now, we're going to release the knees down, draw the hips back over the heels, coming into your child's pose. We're going to make this a nice restful one now. Just bringing the arms alongside the body, palms face up to the sky. Just staying here for a few breaths. We're just going to slow everything down. Taking 2 more breaths here in your child's pose. And then when you're ready, just gently beginning to lift the forehead. Coming back to sit on the heels, just bringing the backs of the hands to rest on the thighs. Taking some nice deep breaths into the belly.
And then when you're ready, just gently blinking the eyes open. We're going to bring the hands together, prayer at heart center, and then just interlace the fingers and draw some figure eights with the wrists. So we've done a lot of work with the wrists this evening as well. They take the full brunt of our planks, our side planks and our down dogs. The only good thing about Dolphin Pose is it gives our wrists a bit of a break. So bringing those figure eights into the opposite direction and then giving the wrists a little shake. Lovely. You're going to bring that right arm in front now, fingertips pointing down, and then just taking the fingers with the left hand and drawing them back towards the body. So just helping to gently release the outer part of the wrist there. Lovely. Giving that right hand a little shake. Do the same with the left. Fingertips pointing down, taking hold of the fingers with the right hand and just gently drawing them back. Lovely. Giving that left hand a little shake. And then we'll come to lie on our back body now. Keeping the knees bent, just allowing the soles of the feet to come onto the floor, releasing the whole of the upper body down onto the earth now. Just allowing the ground to take the weight of your body after all that hard work. Just releasing the hips, the sacrum, lower back, the middle back, the upper back and the shoulders. We're going to bring the arms out at shoulder height, palms face up, bringing the big toes together, the knees together, and we're going to inhale to bring the knees into the center. And you can either draw the knees over to the right, or you can cross that left leg over the right to come into a deeper twist here. As you exhale, just allow the legs to come over to the right. You're bringing that right hand onto the knee. Bring your gaze over to that left hand and just gently closing the eyes down. Allowing the whole of your body now just to release. And a nice stretch now on that left shoulder. After all the hard work. Yourself to drop a little deeper, completely surrendering. Taking 2 more breaths here. And then when you're ready, just bringing the knees all the way back to center, keeping the feet lifted, coming back into your neutral spine. Option again, just to release the knees to the left, or you can cross that right leg over the left, and then just allow the legs to come over to the left here. Bringing that left hand onto the top knee, and bringing your gaze over towards that right hand. Again, just allowing yourself just to settle in the twist. Just completely letting go, allowing your body just to sink a little deeper. Two more breaths here. And when you're ready, just coming all the way back to center, releasing the soles of the feet onto the floor and getting yourselves nice and comfy for a well-earned Shavasana. Just allowing those feet to fall out to the sides, and the backs of the hands to rest on the floor. Allowing the floor to take the weight of your body. Letting go of your practice, letting go of the breath. And just coming into this deep state of rest. deepen your breath, bringing some gentle movements back into the body, taking any stretches that feel good. And when you're ready, just coming to lie on one side for a restful breath here. And then gently beginning to come back to a seated position, bringing the palms of the hands together at heart center. We'll take 3 inhales through the nose, sigh out through the mouth. Nice deep inhale. Nice deep inhale. One last inhale. Just taking a moment to come back to your sankalpa, your intention that you set at the start of your practice. Just taking a moment to honor that intention, and maybe it's one that you want to take off the mat as well. Thank you for sharing your practice with me this evening. Namaste. Thanks guys, well done. You worked hard this evening. It always makes the Shavasana taste a little bit sweeter when you've worked so hard. I hope you enjoyed the class. I know it can be a little challenging, but it's really good to build the strength, so you'll really benefit from it in your other yoga classes, really working with building that core strength, shoulder strength, wrist strength, and ankle strength. So we had all of that in this evening's class, so really well done there. And you've got yin later, just to relax and rest. Thanks guys, see you again soon. Bye.